And welcome to Let Freedom Ring on the live stream. Again, you just saw the graphic there. Scott Hall has passed away. We are going to talk about that. I got the Razor Ramon shirt going, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. So a very sad day. But my guest this week from Mic'd Up Sports and coming down the aisle, is it a podcast? Podcast, fair to
Yes.
say?
Yes.
Mike D. Stefano. Mike, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here, Dan. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, and we've done some shows before. We've done some shows with Kendall, some Nerds Trivia, but never had you on Let Freedom Ring. So this is gonna be it's gonna be a little bit different here.
A
So
little interesting. Like I said, I gotta keep my New York, Brooklyn attitude down a little bit and keep it a little more, like you say, family friendly. So
we are a family friendly show here. But Mike, where are you from now, and where did you grow up?
okay, so right now I live in Chandler, Arizona, which is like a suburb of the Phoenix area. Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. So I was born in '74. So I'm old compared to you, because most of the guys most of the
Only
guys
10
are
years.
nerds.
Yeah.
No, but like when we look at guys like like our friends like Dylan and Justin and Kendall, I'm like, they're babies to me. So, but no, but I grew up in Brooklyn. Moved out to Queens for a few years. Moved back to Brooklyn. Then in 2005, I moved out here with my wife.
Awesome. And I'm assuming did you just have enough of the cold weather, or?
No. Well, she has family out here, so
Oh, okay.
so we moved out here because she had some family out here and they liked it. So we came out here to be closer to them. And you know, I hate the summers. Don't get me wrong, but like when you had that snowstorm a couple weeks ago, and I'm sitting here in the 70, and I don't miss those days. I don't miss the cold winters. But
What's it like growing up in Brooklyn? Like, is it like I've only been to
like,
Brooklyn once, and maybe twice. Like, how is that? Like growing up there?
it's like the sign says on the freeway over there. It's like no place in the world. Great people. Food is amazing. You know, like pizza places, bagels. You can get a good bagel there. You can get.
We'll address this in a second. He's a Philadelphia fan.
Honestly, I don't even. Of course, we just did the too sweet on my show, so yeah, we gotta do the too sweet. I'm not big on basketball, so I don't care if he's a Sixers fan. I couldn't care about the Knicks or the Nets or the Rangers. I'm not that much I'm a football and baseball guy. That's it. I hate it. So if he's from Philly, I hate the Eagles and I hate the Phillies. Enough said.
Understandable. And Josh says hard work pays off, dreams come true, bad times don't last, but bad guys do, and that's true. We're going to talk quite a bit about Scott Hall in a little bit, but I will say, like, I've been to the Barclays Center, and I don't think I'd ever really want to go back. It was really hard to get out of there.
Yeah, it's a little bit. From what I heard, it's a little bit of a nightmare. Barclays was built after I moved out here.
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
So, but the area that it was in, though, wasn't the best area in Brooklyn. They really fixed it up nice. Reason why too I left, the rents up there out there are incredibly expensive. As my cat now is deciding to say hello. Hey, son. There you go. I've read online that rents over there now like $2,500 a month.
Oh, geez.
Became between the 90s going into now became very hipster like. A lot of college hipster type kids moved in, and the old timers moved out. But the neighborhood I grew up in was like Italian mainly. The section of Brooklyn I lived in, Greenpoint, branched out to one side was Italian, one side was more Polish. So, you had a melting pot, I guess, of different cultures.
Awesome. Awesome. We got a lot of comments coming through. Best thing about Brooklyn is so Kendall's kissing up a little bit again. Too funny.
Kendall was kissing up earlier too, but my my normal co-host James will be on this week.
Let
And
freedom
for
ring.
Wolf Pack.
Go. Oh, yep. Here we go. Thanks,
Yeah.
Kendall. Let's see here. A lot of comments coming through. Bird Gang, NFC East representing. Okay. We're going to have some
Well,
stuff. But I do want to ask what's 3 things that everybody should know about you?
well, I have the Coming Down the Aisle podcast, like you said earlier, along with the Mic'd Up Sports YouTube channel. Just I don't know how like to search for it, but if you look at the logo, it's kind of like a red background with yellow writing and a gold microphone. Because my original logo was just a gold one, and then my friend made me a thumbnail and everything for it. The gold microphone was in for the memory of Rush Limbaugh, so I put my dad because I always loved the golden EIB microphone. Um, I mean, there's not much to say about me. I mean, I before my injury 5 years ago, I was pretty much just working and trying, make it. And I love cooking, though. I used to love to cook.
Okay.
Sunday dinners was my thing before I got hurt. Nice little sauce, homemade meatballs, little sausage, little pasta, good stuff. And what's the thing I can say? I am an animal lover. As
Okay.
you can tell, I mean, you saw the cat walk by. I have a dog. I mean, I love animals. I love the company. They're better than humans. They can tell when you're sad. They can tell when you're happy or when you don't feel good. They're always there to make you feel better.
No, I like that. I definitely I kind of want a dog. I'll say that. I've been watching dog sitting my brother and sister-in-law's dog quite a bit lately, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of nice. Josh Mears talking about Will Hobbs here. Mike loves Will Hobbs. This is ay ay ay. No,
Oh, golly,
well,
people stop.
we'll talk wrestling here. We're getting to know Mike first, but here's the big question too, and we ask everybody this on Let Freedom Ring. It's the big question. We get a lot of different answers, and it's sticking with the theme of the show, which we like to say. What does it mean to you to be an American?
Greatest country in the world. We have God-given rights given to us by our forefathers to make us, make our own decisions in life. Unfortunately, there's some people out there who will try to divert that our decisions, but we do have the right to make our own mind and our own choices. And
I
it does
like
mean
that.
a lot. I mean, it does. I mean, because there's a lot of places out there when you look out there in the world that are so different than us that they suffer and they can do what we can.
No, no, I like that. Paying a ridiculous amount of taxes. Awesome, awesome, good answer. Now I want to get
I didn't do
yeah,
mine yet, so I don't know if I'm getting anything back yet.
yeah. Yeah, I wait till the last minute. I'm notorious for that. I don't know why. I think that if I do it later, like the money's gonna be better. Like I don't know.
Oh
And not
yeah,
saying it adds up, but I'm like it feels like a more special treat when I get it like in like May or whenever, uh, or at the end of April or whatever. But um, all right. So we said you decided to move to Arizona because your wife had family there. That's
hmm
how it kind of decided.
yeah,
So was she originally from Arizona,
yeah.
and
No,
then you
no, no,
guys
no,
met
no, no, no,
there?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
No, that's what, and that's one question a lot of people ask me is like, and even my friend James, and he finds it funny because we lived in Brooklyn together. And he asked me this like a month ago. He's like how do you not lose your accent? And I'm like, well, my wife was from Bensonhurst in
Okay.
Brooklyn. We talk every day together, so it ain't like I'm never gonna lose my accent. Like sometimes it might fade a little bit, but when I say like words like dog, water, coffee, as you can hear, it's starting to come out.
Yeah.
a little bit. But yeah, I mean, because we moved down here together, we both talk the same way. We're both from this, the same part of New York. So, it just comes out.
All right. No, no, makes sense. Um, what's been the toughest part? Now, obviously, coming from New York and you moved to Arizona, what's been the toughest part about that move? Now, I know you've been there a lengthy amount of time now, but there's got to be some things that were just different being there than being, in New York.
Not having reliable transportation. Like New York, I used to work right in the middle of Times Square where the ball dropped. Right there. And I used to work at 1501 Broadway, the old Paramount building. I used to work for New York City Off Track Betting Corporation, which was I did horse betting on over the phone
Oh,
before
oh
the
wow.
days of now we can just do it online and it's easy and everything. And we were right there in the center, and right to when I used to walk out, and right to the right of me was Dick Clark's stand for Rockin' Eve.
Oh wow.
And I actually got to work on New Year's Eve once. It was right when I first started, and it was the Millennium
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
Y2K. So that night was chaotic, and we couldn't even go out the way we wanted. But I used to get to work in 20 minutes. I hop on 2 trains and I'm there. A bus on every corner that you were at. When I moved out here, there were limited buses. You have to drive. I wasn't the greatest driver in the world when I was living in Brooklyn, but out here I had to learn and I got better. So, you know, that was one of the hard things. And second hardest was trying to find a good pizza place.
Ah, I can imagine. Is that a thing though? Growing up in New York like that, like you didn't drive all that much, like
You have to barely drive at all unless you worked. I mean, unless you really worked somewhere that required you to drive.
yeah.
But to get to Midtown Manhattan, 42nd and Broadway, 20 minutes.
Okay.
And like I said, if as soon as you get off the train, it was a bus stop. So I get on the bus and I go home. So I mean, that's how easy it was.
All right. All right. Yeah. No, I always find that I've always had to in New Hampshire. I've always had to have a car. Like, there's just no way to. I mean, yeah, there's public transportation, but you would have to get to where that happens. So,
Right. I mean,
uh,
like, when you look at cities like New York, Chicago, LA, those are metropolises. Those are they have those things.
I think you owe money for a bet. I'm not sure what that's what that's referring to, but no, awesome. Now, could you ever see yourself returning to the East Coast, or is it like, no, this is where we're staying, and we're not
I
going
mean, I would
back?
like to go back and visit. I wouldn't go. I mean, now with the rent being so high over there, but I mean, even talking to friends, it's like, oh, it's so different now than what it was. So many things changed. Um, I mean, I was just telling my co-host of my show, James, the other day, and we were looking up our houses on Google Maps where we used to live, and I ended up going on a website and actually showed me how much the house my parents owned when they sold it back in 1986 for a whopping $72,000
Oh
is now
wow.
worth $965,000.
Oof. It is
30,
crazy right now.
well, like, yeah, I mean, well, that area was so big. I mean, people were buying up property left and right. They knock it down. They build up these big, giant, multi dwellings so that an impossible rent. So 4 hipsters can live on bunk beds, and it was a lot. I mean, and to hear that the neighborhood changed so much, and things changed, and but to me, Brooklyn to me is going to be everything what it was when I was last there.
Understandable. No, no, very cool. But we also want to talk about you host a podcast.
Mhm.
I'm a frequent viewer of it.
And I
Um,
appreciate the views and you subscribing as well. So thank you for
yeah,
that.
but we want to know. Tell us a little bit about. what's the show about? Now, people probably know that Let Freedom Ring is a big wrestling fan show. It's not a wrestling show, but yeah, what's the show about?
All right, so Mic'd Up Sports. My first idea was I was going to go somewhere different, but a lot of people, um, let me see. Well, Dylan's one of my co-hosts, so he would say it's a great show. Or I don't know if he say, yeah, you have a great show, or we have a great show, but
Yeah,
um, so I was going to go more political, but then friends were telling me like, you don't want to do that with YouTube because, and we'll get into that later because you asked me where I'm going to stand anyway. But YouTube is harder on people who lean towards the right. That they can stop. They can cancel out your videos and all that stuff. So I was like, all right, let me go with sports. So I started off, it was going to be sports. So I went with, and more wrestling based. Like I said, coming down the aisle, popular phrase said by Howard Finkel for many years, working for WWE. And then I used to do a little bit of sports talk where I would talk about, certain events that were happening in sports. And I kind of drew off on that and I just kept it with the wrestling. And what gave me the idea was, and then I'm going back a good 6-7 years already. I was talking to my friend James, who's my co-host. I'm along with Dylan now. And we were just talking about doing a podcast. And we were trying to think of a name with him, and we came up, I came up with two names. I said, Shooting the Breeze with Mike and Jimmy. I said, or This is a shoot, meaning shoot as in promo style, not shooting with a weapon.
oh yeah.
So I ended up doing my friend's football show on his YouTube channel during the pandemic. And he said, you should really give it a shot. I said, I don't know if I want to try it. He said, just try it, see what happens. I said, okay. So I started off, doing it. The microphone I'm talking into, the friend that I was doing the YouTube show, he actually mailed me the microphone as a late Christmas present for me to start.
Yeah.
So, and I've done 48 episodes now, 47, 48. I took a little break in between because I had a few hecklers. I didn't want to do the show anymore because, people got offended by something I said. And then I took a break and I tried to restructure it and it didn't work out the way I wanted. Then I went another way. And then I just said, you know what? Let me just do a weekly thing on Saturdays. We just go over the news and rumors that I want to go over, and that's it. So a conversation 7 years ago turned into what we have now.
No, I like it. I like tuning in when I can. Um, and what's your favorite part of having a podcast?
Basically, just having my I have my own control. It's my creative freedom that I can do whatever I want with it. And I like it. Like I said, it's we just go over the wrestling stuff, and I mean I know I should do more with the sports stuff, but I'm big on wrestling. You know that.
And the thing with wrestling is it's so subjective that there's really no wrong or right answers most of the time, which
Yeah.
sparks up great debates. you know.
And we've been there. I mean, speaking of Kendall's in the chat right now probably, and now our biggest argument is whether or not Will Hobbs is championship material, and we all argued about it on Friday. I say no. I don't get him. I don't like his gimmick. I don't like it. But we all agree to disagree, and that's
Yeah.
what makes it great. Is that we can still disagree on stuff and still be friendly even afterwards.
No, I agree, and shout out to Kendall's show as well, Wrestling Fans Unhinged. And I never gave him the shout out that he was right that it was going to be a unification match at WrestleMania. So I dropped the ball on that, Kendall. But there is your shout out for that. You were right. I was wrong. Um, got a few more comments. Dan, great show. Love listening, but Mike can't be saying that stuff about the Eagles without a little pushback. Bird Gang.
Big
Uh,
Blue, sorry.
and my brother Tim, R.I.P. Scott Hall. Yep, too
Absolutely.
sweet. Uh, Kev 504, who Thank you for watching. Even bigger than the NFC Championship. And I think he's talking. Oh, okay. WWF was one of the biggest events in New Orleans. I've been in New Orleans. I loved it there. That was like a really fun trip to go to New Orleans. I didn't know what to do because you can literally like just take your beer everywhere you go. Like doesn't matter, you know. Um, but we got some fan questions from you, for you actually, I should say. First coming from Kendall Payne Glover. Um, how about them Cowboys? And when will you realize Let Freedom Ring is better than coming down the aisle? I know he wants to get more on your show. I don't know.
For a guy who kisses my backside every possible chance, I even say he uses Sherry chapstick for it. Um, he really does not want to be on my show anymore, does he?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. These are very different, very different shows here. Um, that's too funny because 1 minute he'll be like, "You're doing great," next minute
The
not.
next minute, 1 minute I'm a goat, the next minute I'm nobody over here.
That's just too funny. And then we have from Angela Di Stefano. Just know. Is that a family member? Oh, is that your wife?
What did you do? What did I do? You sent Dan a question?
It was on Facebook. Just said no, so it wasn't even really a question.
Oh. What are you talking about? Oh no, Dan said you commented. I didn't say anything. I'm not even on the computer. Oh, she's claiming she didn't do nothing.
No, this was from earlier. These are questions from earlier.
Oh, okay. Oh, questions from earlier, baby. You must have put something
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
I said no.
Yeah.
She said. Yep. She said. I said no. I don't know.
On your announcement for the show.
Oh.
I said no.
That was
there
it.
You go. There you go. There's your answer.
Now we're gonna get a little bit into something, and I know a lot of people want us to talk about it. Obviously, being two big wrestling fans, very tragic news came out. We had it. We had the picture up at the start of the show. Unfortunately, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, has passed away at 63 years old. Um, one of the all-time favorites for a lot of people. Um, Man, there's so many Scott Hall moments. What are some of your favorites?
Right before we went on, we did a tribute show on mine. So we had Josh on there, James, me, Kendall was on there. They also did their favorite moments was the WrestleMania 10 ladder match with Sean.
Okay.
Kendall, you are not coming back on anymore. um, and I totally agree, but I think, and I said it earlier, one of my favorite matches he had, and because it was a laugh out loud moment for me to watch it, was him and Stone Cold at X8.
Oh, that stunner.
When he oversold that stunner, and it was hilarious. It was just like Sean. He oversold the move. But like also there's a lot of other matches I did enjoy. I loved the way he feuded with Sean Waltman, the 1-2-3 kid at the time.
Got him over.
The way he got him over in that match was amazing. He, you can say whatever you want about the Click. They hold guys back. Sean Waltman wasn't part of that crew back then. He became familiar with them as the feud went on.
He had a different name every week, if you remember. He was a jobber.
Yeah. Well, he was the Lightning Kid back in Global Wrestling Federation. But he was like the Kamikaze Kid. He was the Kid. He was this kid, that kid. But when he took the pin from Sean Waltman, you can say this guy wasn't just the typical I'm going to win every match type guy. He's willing to take to get the guy over, as we said. So
I have to say that was one of the most shocking Raw moments at that point because I think we're still in 1993 at that point, and the show was the whole purpose of the show because you remember it was like primetime wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So the purpose for this show was like we're live. You don't know what's going to happen, and then. Yeah, go ahead.
And that's where the expression Vince came up with. Anything can happen in the WWF.
Yeah, it was one of those like shocking moments because if you were watching during that period, and I will say that our younger fans in Nerds of Wrestling like Josh and Kendall, it was only squash matches, and maybe sometimes you'd get a main event type match on weekly television shows. So for a enhancement talent to actually win a match was like, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah.
Like, and I, at that point, I think I'm in second grade. So like, I thought that was something that was like impossible. So that's one of my favorite.
Well,
Yeah.
I was 19 at the time, and when I watched, I was like, "Are you just kidding me? Would I, did I just see this happen?"
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And the thing about Razor was like that started maybe starting to lead into his babyface run because he was another guy that, if you become a great heel, maybe, maybe MJF will never be a babyface. I don't know.
I don't
But
think MJF will ever be a babyface.
yeah, like, and it didn't really fit the Miz either. But a lot of times when you're a great heel, people, you just start getting over, and the fans can't. They like you, and then they start cheering you, and that's what
Mhm.
happened with him. You know.
And that's what Josh said earlier. He actually made rooting for the heel cool.
Yeah, 100% that he did, and I think the switch might have been at like the end of '93 because Michaels got suspended. Then they had the two titles.
Yeah.
He beat.
And then he feuded more with Waltman, and then Waltman turned heel on him, and then they had the
Yep.
baby diaper. Remember the baby diaper
Yeah, that
match?
was.
And he had put the baby diaper on Waltman after he beat him.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, honestly, and he got so over in the World Wrestling Federation that him and Kevin Nash essentially changed the business because they knew that they were worth money and went to WCW. And I think that's another really shocking moment was I didn't know anything about dirt sheets when I was 12, so I had no idea that they were leaving the company. And he shows up on Nitro, and it was like, I can't believe what I'm watching right now.
Yeah, I used to. A friend's dad used to give me his copies of the Wrestling Torch, the PW Torch, and I used to read those and read a little bit. I was like, oh wow, these guys are giving some inside information out over here. And then nowadays you can get anything. Like I said, Meltzer, SAP, um, BodySlam.net, Figure Four Online. You can get everything you want. And you get all the information that you want to read. But back then, yeah, we had nothing.
Yeah, it was definitely a crazy time. Yeah, Kendall brings up a good point. What if they didn't leave? This isn't talked about either. When you talk about the Attitude Era, everybody kind of focuses on Stone Cold Steve Austin, but the NWO kind of led to the WWF having to do better.
And it actually did. It actually made Vince have to get more racy and went from a PG type model type show into an basically into an MA-17 model.
Jerry Springer for wrestling is what the Attitude Era really was.
Yeah,
A lot of the times.
that's what
But
it was.
but Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, I mean, they really sparked, in my opinion, the biggest boom in wrestling uh, ever, in my opinion.
And the other thing I take in mind too, with them going there, they literally changed the way how wrestlers got paid. Nobody knew of guarantee contracts. All of a sudden, they getting paid $750,000. Then got paid another $250 on top of that when they had the whole JR was going to have Razor and Diesel on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I mean, and something that we also need to talk about. Vince was so bitter about this that I think he sue WCW at one point, saying like they're really doing their characters in WCW.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. And they were saying that, Hall was acting more like Razor than being regular Scott Hall, and Nash was being Diesel and all that stuff because Scott Hall, I'm sorry, Kevin Nash used to come out and he used to, do the fist like Diesel, and you get the whole thing with Scott Hall coming out going, "Hey yo," that was Razor's gimmick right there. So he did sue, and yeah, Heather was right. He actually Vince won that. That's why at I think it was Was it the Great American Bash or Bash at the Beach when Bischoff went through the table?
Great American Bash. It was
Okay.
before Bash of the Beach. Yeah.
And then he asked them that question: "Are you And he actually said it: "Are you employees of the WWF?" And they both said no. So they had to confirm that they weren't employed by Vince at the time.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too was then Vince was like, "Okay, I'm gonna make my own Razor and Diesel," which was I thought it was silly at the time. I think a lot of people thought it was silly. I think Vince probably thought it was silly, but I don't know if that was him being like, "Yeah, I can just put this gimmick on anybody."
It actually helped Paul and Mesh get paid an extra $250,000 because they thought that they were really going to back to WWE.
Yeah, that was some wild times.
And poor Glenn Jacobs had to sit there looking like Kevin Nash.
Yeah, and I think that was after he was Isaac Yankem too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It was right in the fake Diesel was the meat in the sandwich between Isaac Yankem and Kane.
Okay.
Because after that, then Kane came.
Wow.
Kane was formed.
Imagine if he never finds that. And yeah, Heather's been trying. Yeah, I definitely agree with her. If they stayed, this comment right here, I don't think you get that boom that we had because
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
those WCW fans did not really care about Hulk Hogan being the red and yellow guy. Like there was some, but the Southern audience wasn't into it.
And that's what Bischoff tried to change was the good old boy fat way things were ran down there. That's why you saw JR leave because he didn't want JR there anymore. But you still had a good Southern base because it was owned by Turner. And Turner is Atlanta. And that's the Deep South. And you're not going to have them, that's to me, WCW before or after Hogan that's still Flair country. Flair was God over there.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, the fact that the NWO was the biggest thing going, and those fans were like, because you remember when Flair got suspended, and I still side with Ric Flair, but we don't know the whole story. They both have different opinions about him going to his son's
about
wrestling tournament.
Reed's going to his tournament, and he said no, and all that. And like I said, there's always three sides to a story: their version, your version, and the truth.
I 100% agree. So they both do not. Him and Bischoff have always said two different stories on what went down there. But big thing was, yeah, you're right. It was Flair country. They weren't going to let it go. They wanted their Ric Flair, and it didn't matter how big the NWO was at that point.
I mean, you sort of said Flair country, Horseman country. No, you don't. You don't bring the guy from up north to come down there to dethrone the king.
No, 100% agree. Flair and the Horsemen were over. I agree. I 100% agree with that.
Yep.
Just sticking on Scott Hall real quick, there was a lot of great moments. There were some things that were done in bad taste. Obviously, he did have substance abuse issues,
a drinking and substance abuse problem.
Yeah, and for them
and they put it on TV, which was totally disgusting.
Yeah, I thought that was out of line. I don't know, and then WWF did the same thing with Hawk, and now, looking back, it's kind of sad because both these guys didn't die necessarily old. I mean, Hawk definitely did not. So I've never been into taking that. You can do some real life things in wrestling, but sometimes it's just some things are in bad taste, and I think when they were having Scott Hall pretending to be drunk on air.
I think that's the first time I'm ever going to agree with Kendall on anything. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to argue. But yeah, then he came back, and like you said, had that match with Stone Cold. Now, if you see Dark Side of the Ring, you do find out, obviously he got fired. Kurt Hennig got fired after the plane ride from hell.
Mm-hmm.
I think Scott Hall will not be someone forgotten anytime soon.
No. Especially with DDP's help and everything and trying to change his life the way and it actually did work.
I think he lived another 11 years because of DDP.
Well, it was 2013 when they first put him on DDP yoga.
Okay, because
So
I do remember 2011 when he was at top. I believe it was Top Rope in actually in New England, where they were like carrying him to the ring. He was all messed up. He still had the
mhm,
bracelet on from the hospital stay.
yeah.
Um,
And then if you remember, if you watch Resurrection of Jake the Snake, when they picked him up at the airport, he was in a wheelchair.
yeah,
So
yeah. I just I mean, it's a sad time, but again, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, we'll love you forever. Um, we'll talk a little bit because I know you want to talk a slightly about politics on this show. We don't do a whole lot of politics anymore on this show
mhm.
because most people don't want to talk about it, which I understand. Most people
No,
like to just do it in a Facebook post. But
right.
um, real quick, a lot of things going on right now. Um, in the country, obviously, things with Ukraine and Russia, gas prices, a lot of things going crazy. Obviously, we're getting to the tail end of this pandemic. Um, I know you're not a fan of him, but what kind of grade would you give Joe Biden so far?
I'll still give him enough. I'll still give him enough. I mean, inflation's through the roof. Food prices went up. I put. We just did a food shop yesterday. It almost cost us $200 compared to a year ago, or maybe even a year and a half ago, when we were spending $50, $60 less on the stuff that we were buying now. Um, you shut down Keystone Pipeline, but you give Russia the permission to open up their pipeline, and you cost jobs. I'm shocked to see that. But no, yeah, he's. I'll tell you, everybody used to say Jimmy Carter will go down as the worst president ever. This guy said, "Hold my beer."
See, I mean, I think Jimmy Carter had a lot of good ideas. They just didn't, yeah, they didn't pan out. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been thrilled. You know what I do is as far as people know where where I fall
Right.
politically, more on the left. But I've not really been happy in the last two. Like I don't. Why are we getting older? Why are we not getting these young candidates to run for president or younger? You know?
That's the whole thing. And but here's the thing, and that's what makes me laugh is that you know the Democrat Party complains, "Oh, we're tired of old white guys." Well, you just voted in a 78-year-old man who's white as your president. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's parts of the country they don't look at it that way, or they see it as look when Obama became president. Like everybody felt like, okay, first time ever, I got to vote for him. If I'm not, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. In a way, though, I didn't vote because McCain wasn't going to beat him, and I wasn't going to vote either way. But when you look at it now, it's like people just keep complaining about, oh, well, there's old white men, but you keep voting in these old white men. They're all a young batch. I mean, I'm not saying go vote for, let's say, a 32-year-old bartender from Long Island City with bug eyes and with bug eyes over there. AOC, I'm talking about, but
Yeah, she's not old enough though
like if
yet.
you're gonna vote for, you know what I mean. I'm not saying vote some 30. I know 35 is the legal age to become, to run for the office, but you don't have to get somebody 35. You can find somebody in their 50s or mid 50s to run.
Yeah, I think both. I mean, honestly, like I said, I lean towards the left, but I'm not really happy with either party, and I haven't really been.
I don't
Uh,
like. Here's the thing. I, my party. I don't understand why my party won't support the guy that was in before. And I'm not going to mention names because God forbid you two might kick us off. But the guy before I don't know why all my party, so many people hate him for what? Because he came in and disrupted things. The greatest thing in the world that happened in politics. An outsider businessman came in and became president of the United States. Not some guy who's been in Congress or the Senate for 9,000 years. And that's what it was. And he did a lot of things that worked, and they just reversed it back to normal where it was. And like I said, you're looking at gas prices. A friend of mine in California who I used to work with back in New York, she was out in LA. She posted the sign from a mobile station, $6.09 a gallon for regular. That's insane.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy time right now. That's for sure. I think I don't know when it will go back down or whatnot, but
It ain't gonna go back there. I mean, unless for some miracle way and if he does it, they're gonna hate him. But if he reopens Keystone, you might have it fixed. But he's not. But that's what I'm saying. You shut down Keystone and you let Putin open up the thing for Germany. That made no sense.
and one question too, and this is something I ask on the show many times. What do you think causes so much division in this country? Is it just the two-party system? Is that a
I
big part of it?
I think it
Do we
has to
treat
do. I think it has to do a lot with the fact that we have very liberal colleges and very liberal high schools with very liberal teachers, and and it's an indoctrination. They love to brainwash these kids nowadays, and unless you have parents who are really on the ball watching this, and I'm gonna put it like this: remember when the teachers didn't want to go back to the schools because of the pandemic? They didn't want the right. They wanted homeschooling. They want everybody to be virtual,
depending on where you lived? Yeah.
right? But you see what happened in Virginia with the way the education system is over there. The parents got to see what these kids were learning, and now these parents are going, "Wait a minute, what are you learning?" And that's where the problem started.
So you think so? Just in your opinion, so you think the issue with the division is because of the left and only the left, or is it
No,
just
no,
people?
no, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no,
Okay.
no, no, no. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about college professors
Okay.
who read Marcuse and Marx and all of them and believe in socialism and Marxism and all this stuff in the world. And they teach this to your kids. They're actually teaching kids all these things. And more and it's the truth, more colleges lean left. And these college professors are these old school 1960 radicals that got their brain fixed. Now they're passing on to our kids. And like I said, with the schools in Virginia or anywhere where now they're fighting the school boards because of the teachers being stupid and not letting and and being able to do in in school, face to face learning instead of going virtual. The parents caught onto this and were saying, "Wait a minute, what are they teaching you?" And now you have all these parents going to school board meetings and trying to fight the school boards. That's what's people. I think people are starting to wake up, and maybe this November and 2 years after that, hopefully something might go right.
Yeah, I mean, I see it as just you have. I think a two-party system is just, in my opinion, you're always going to run into this. You got people voting for stuff that you go to an ice cream stand, and it's not just two flavors, is it? It's usually a lot of different choices. So I do think people treat politics almost like sports teams, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
that simple. But no, I appreciate your honesty on your beliefs and everything like that. So I like that. Um, let's get into some top fives here because this is a segment I really like to do on the show.
I had to think really hard on some of these because I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, it's not always the easiest, but what are your and we do this too because a lot of people they tune into the show and get ideas for things to watch. I know I have by being a host. What's your favorite your top 5 TV shows?
uh, Sopranos, absolutely
Yes.
Sopranos.
That is a hot
Um,
topic on Let Freedom Ring. We'll talk a
I,
little bit more about that in a second.
I love the Sopranos. Um, How I Met Your Mother. I always liked watching that show. I was a big fan of The Nanny. I love all three Chicago's.
Okay.
I watch them religiously. And This Is Us. Thank you. And she just
Um,
she said about. I wasn't too keen on This Is Us, and my wife was watching it, and then all of a sudden, I started getting a little bit into it, and then I saw what now I just love it. So yeah, so those are my top five. I would say those.
I without a doubt, in my opinion, and people know this about me because I say it all the time. I've said it on this show a lot. The Sopranos is the greatest television show of all time. Uh,
I literally choked up watching the Super Bowl when I saw Jamie Lee Sigler and Robert Ayala back together doing uh, the Soprano theme song in that Chevy commercial. I was like, oh my god! I just started getting.
yeah,
I was like watching. I said, wait, is that Jamie Lynn? And all they showed was her lips. I was like, that's Jamie Lynn. I know that nose.
yeah, it was absolutely what a moment. I mean, honestly, they do a podcast together. I know that. I forget what it's called. I've watched it a few times, but I gotta say, the day James Gandolfini died, I could not believe it.
People cried when he died. I mean that ruined the whole Sopranos movie that they were going to do. I know they did Many Saints of Newark and they put his son in there. It's like a prequel to how Tony became Tony.
Yeah,
But they were so into doing a Sopranos movie, and him dying just killed everything. I mean,
yeah.
literally killed everything.
I will say, like, as I've gone on over in 2007 at the ending, I went, "Are you serious? Did they just do that to me?" I do think over the years, though, I've gone to feel better about that ending than I did at the time.
And the
You
funny
know.
thing with the Chevy commercial too, they actually were out parked across the street from that diner that was a diner from the last scene.
Oh wow. Okay. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
And she was able to park the car in one shot, not six like the other like the ending.
Yeah. No. No. Now, and we got some comments that we'll see if you want to answer these after because we got Dylan and Kendall in the comments waiting here. But I want to do these other two before we move
Oh, my
on.
other co-host is in here. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Dylan's here. What are your top 5 movies?
All the Godfathers, and I'll put that as one because I'm not going to say
That's fair.
Godfather one. Although three was probably the worst of the three. Even my father said it when we watched it together, and my dad looked at me and said, "Too much with the Catholic Church." But so all three Godfathers, Goodfellas,
Goodfellas, my all-time.
um, they call it the Jersey Chronicles. It's Kevin Smith's Mallrats, Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, and Jane Silent Bob Strike Back. Of course, in Clerks 2 as well. I like all the Kevin Smith stuff. What else do I like? One of my actually no, I got two actually. Two are like cult comedy classics that nobody really knew about because of how they came out in the theaters. One is Let It Ride with Richard Dreyfuss and Terry Garr from 1989.
Okay.
It's a film about a gambler, which matches up perfectly for me with my in my lifestyle, and basically has the day of a lifetime. Only in movies this can be done. And one of the top trainers in the country said that this movie accurately depicts how the racetrack is when you go out to watch horse racing, and they focused on everybody from the from the degenerate that's trying to make a buck, trying to make the big hit, uh, the loser that always loses every race but keeps going back for more, the rich guy with the young girl, and because paying her off to stay with him. A bookmaker running around the track. You know, it's probably one of the funniest movies I ever saw. And I'll close it out with my fifth will be Johnny Dangerously with Michael Keaton.
Awesome, awesome. And I totally agree on the Kevin Smith movies. Not the stuff he did later. I haven't really found much of it all that good. I did enjoy Clerks 2. Nothing will ever top Clerks 1. Um, the only movie I didn't like really out of those, and I think it's just because it was so dark, was Chasing Amy. It felt so dark.
Well, I mean, that's the way he voted. I mean,
Yeah. It just wasn't like, your feel good Kevin Smith. I mean, yeah, I get it. He's got to do other things than just, be a one trick pony. But no, those are all great movies. Huge. I'm huge on The Godfather. Goodfellas, next to A Wonderful Life, is my all time favorite movie. I can watch Goodfellas over and over. Do you have a top 5 favorite musical albums?
I can come up with 5.
Okay.
Beastie Boys' License to Ill.
I know why you like that. Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Paul V. Funny's on that one. Paul Revere is one of my favorites on that CD. And when I was able to get out more, I did karaoke doing Paul Revere.
Okay.
So I
like
karaoke Paul Revere with a friend of mine that I used to hang out at a bar with. So we just used to do that one. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
That's come up a lot.
Anything Led Zeppelin. And moving out here, I became a real country fan. So I like stuff by Luke Bryan, Blake Shelton as well, Jason Aldean as well too. So, like, I became more eclectic when I moved out here because like country wasn't that big in New York.
No.
But then once you move out here, there's like 2 or 3 country stations. And thanks for reminding me. Yeah, and I actually saw Garth Brooks live too a few years back. I drove from one of the cable company stores in the area had one of the stations out here, and I won a raffle to win tickets. So,
I never thought I'd be a country fan until I got to college. And northern New Hampshire, they like it a little bit more.
mm-hmm.
And I started listening to it there, and I've been country. I mean, I have 2 stations that I listen to every day.
I mean, even with me, like living in New York, but I vacationed up in Saratoga. But the Albany, Saratoga, Lake George area always had a country station because country music was bigger up there. But like I can listen to, Blake Shelton, like I said, Luke Bryan, Luke Combs. I love the music, and I actually, I enjoy listening to it. So yeah, I'm all over the place. Rap, classic rock, country, more 80s rap. I'm not saying rap today. I think the rap in the 80s, the old school hip hop is best.
I haven't enjoyed it much. I mean, I used to work in a kind of a lockup facility, and I used to tell the kids there, they were from like 16 to 21. I'm like, I'm sorry, but hip hop has gone to decline. I can't believe some of the stuff you guys listen to.
Slip them either License to Ill or give them something by LL or Run DMC. I don't know what good stuff is.
Yeah, I don't work there anymore, but I used to explain like where I was when Tupac died and Biggie died and all that stuff. So, we do have some comments here because
Okay.
we bring up top 5s. Dylan was really he's hoping to hear your top 5 wrestlers. I know that's
Oh
hard to be on the spot.
Jesus.
And rap is
Okay.
not great now, Dylan. I'm going to disagree with you there.
No, totally not. I gotta say, I'm gonna start messaging Dylan some Beastie Boys and Run DMC from the '80s. Top 5 wrestlers, Jesus. Pipe is number 1. Ultimate Heel, love Pipe and growing up. Ric Flair, number 2. 3, CM Punk. 4, I'm gonna go with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker.
No, I like that list. Mine goes Michaels, Foley, Austin, Taker, Hart.
And I just found out that Foley is going to have a podcast now. I heard.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. He was one of the coolest wrestlers I've ever met. I don't know if we top 5 favorite Cowboys players. I don't know.
Let's see. Top five Cowboy players. Anybody that played against the Cowboys is my top 5 Cowboy player.
Kendall also wants to know top 5 black wrestlers.
All
I'd
right,
probably have
all
Booker
right. You know
T at
what?
the
You know
top.
what? You know what? You know what? I'll play his game. I'll play his game. I'll be nice. Ron Simmons, JYD. I'll say The Rock because I'll be nice for The Rock. Kofi Kingston. And can't think of a fifth. You know what? I'm going to throw Rich Swann on that list. He impresses me.
Yeah, I'd go Booker T. I have to
I
think
wasn't a big
about this.
Booker T fan. I'm sorry. I'm not a big
I
Booker.
one of my I hated WCW 2000, right? But when Booker T won the title, I was like, okay, I'll come back for a minute. I was so excited about it, but obviously Russo, you know,
Yeah, well, Russo ruined everything. So
you know, obviously The Rock in there, definitely Kofi in there. I don't disagree with Ron Simmons, obviously. Here's one though that people don't talk about, and this is I don't know if this is gonna get me heat or not, but when Ahmed Johnson had his first run with just the WWF, huge fan of Ahmed Johnson as a kid. I love that feud that he had with the Nation until they put him with the Nation and then decided, yeah, we're gonna
you
split
don't
them
think
right
the
away.
feud with Goldust kind of ruined it a little bit though?
I mean, at the time, that was definitely there was a lot of homophobia going on
Yeah.
in the WWF at that point. Um, oh yes, I agree, Kendall. Yeah, Truth is one of my favorites. Uh, oh God, how did I not say Bobby Lashley? I'm obsessed with Bobby Lashley these days. So I mean, there's a lot. If I have to go through, I could probably
Because
make
Will
my.
Hobbs is never going to be on any of my lists.
Yeah, I told Truth is one of the most entertaining
I
people
should have said
ever.
Truth on there too. You're right.
Not just like even when he was K Quick, I liked him, and then when he came back, I mean, he's one of the most. Raw could be horrible, but you know, an R Truth segment's gonna entertain you. You know, yeah, Lashley's definitely on my list. I'd probably put Lashley again over Ahmed Johnson. I've loved everything Bobby Lashley has done in the last 10 years.
All right, now I'm going to take Rich Swann off and I'll throw in Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, I feel like gotta have Bobby Lashley on there. He really,
I wasn't thinking Lashley right there. That just didn't click right away.
let's see. Once will. I mean, I do like Hobbs. We'll have to see how it plans out.
What did he
Yeah.
say there at the end? Never what? What was that thing at the end? Never hear the end. I would
Oh,
just,
he's gonna go on that about.
I would just put you on mute, and I'll leave every group chat that you're a part of with me. I would definitely not have to hear you anymore.
All right, so I want to get into my favorite segment of the show, which is blank versus blank. I'm gonna give you two things. You got to pick one, but you got to tell me why. First one: Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Michael Jordan, and just because he's the greatest. Just Michael won 6 in a row, and it took LeBron forever to get to that point. And you can see how bad the Bulls were without Michael during that time when he was gone.
I mean, Scottie Pippen. Obviously, he's my one of my favorite players. We got a nice little Scotty bobblehead, but he
Nice.
lost his arm here. Yeah, no, everybody knows how much I love Scottie Pippen. So I always get into that debate, and I'm always like, now I go LeBron. I've just got to, but I've also biased with LeBron because I graduated high school the same year, and I've got to really watch his whole career. But all right, here's a good one. Who is more responsible for the success of the New England Patriots over the 20-year span? Tom Brady or Bill Belichick?
You're asking a New York Giants fan whether
I mean, no team did what they did.
Honestly, I hate to say it, I gotta say Brady.
Okay.
Because with the 2 times without Brady, so I mean, well, 3 times Brady wasn't there. I mean, they didn't make the playoffs. I mean, well, 2 out of 3. I mean, I know Mac Jones got him into the playoffs this year, but still, I mean, you look at last year and the year when Matt Castle was playing for him. I would go Brady.
I will say the year Matt Castle was there, the team was still pretty good. Any other year, 11-5 would have got you to the playoffs.
Definitely. But I'm saying, no, I mean, I know Belichick. You know, everybody like to say, well, Belichick's the architect, but I think without Brady, they wouldn't win 6 Super Bowls.
I mean, it's really important to have that quarterback.
Thank God for Eli Manning and some crafty quarterbacking to win 2 of those from him. So you're welcome.
well, one of them I didn't hurt as much. The undefeated season that hurt.
Well, you know
Austin,
what? My quarterback Eli Manning put the 1 in 18-1.
I had a bad feeling going to that game because every channel we were, flipping. I was in college at the time, and every channel we would flip to was saying the Patriots. Like they were talking about it in a hockey game. I'm like, no, don't get involved in this. Like I had this nervous feeling like never before. And yeah, that was a horrible night. I could barely watch that part of the Brady Patriots documentary. In the arena there.
Let me ask you a question. What hurt you most with the 18-1? Was it the helmet catch or plaques in the end zone?
I think, yeah, David Tyree. I don't think anything can really. I couldn't believe that happened.
That's like a toss up for some Patriot fans. It's like, no, the helmet catch ruined us, and they're like,
Well,
oh,
Rodney
you know,
Harrison
well,
was right there. I mean, he's one. You want to talk about one of the best players ever, play. Um, yeah, that's true, Chris. I did not watch sports for about a month. We had an agreement. I would like sneak peeks of the Celtics that year because that's the year the Celtics won the championship. But yeah, I couldn't watch ESPN, especially after all the accusations that were going on around those times because that was right after Spygate. It was a tough time.
yep.
Um, I almost agree with Mike on everything except for the G-man. um, all right. Stone Cold Steve Austin or Hulk Hogan?
Austin. Oh,
Yeah, got to give the why.
biggest draw of all, biggest draw of all time.
In the big, I mean, did Austin end up did overall he make more money than Hogan? I mean,
I think he
obviously
did.
Hogan
Well, I mean, if
career
you
was
count,
longer.
I mean, well, if you count money going from 1984 to 2000, to 1999 or 2003 when he officially retired. If you look at if you did like an inflation calculator type deal, Hogan would have probably made a little bit more if that money was still the way it was going back in '84. But no, I mean, Austin to me was, and I grew up. I mean, I grew up with Hogan, and as an adult, I was watching Austin, and I still say Austin was better.
Yeah, I would pick Austin too. And that's not just we say this a lot. I love Hulk Hogan, not as big a fan of Terry Bollea. And Chris, yeah, I'm a millennial, that's why I like Austin. I like that. Football or baseball if one had to go away.
Oh God, you put me right because I watch. I mean, the only thing I watch is football and baseball. But right now, I'd rather watch football.
Baseball's hurting.
And that
They really
lockout
are.
didn't help. I mean, I'm glad they got things back together. I'm glad they were able to reach an agreement. But the game, I mean, the game got boring throughout the years. It doesn't excite me anymore. So yeah, so football.
Oh, Chris Warren says bye football.
Ooh,
It's changed for me too. I don't know. Something about it once a week. Kind of wants to know who'd win a fight, Tyson or Muhammad Ali. I mean,
wow.
Tyson was a killer, but I mean Muhammad Ali is the GOAT. I don't know.
All
I'd
right,
probably
wait a minute. Which Muhammad Ali do you want, Kendall? Do you want Ali in his prime or Ali more towards the end?
Dylan can never go other. Yeah, I'm pretty addicted to football at this point in
Yeah,
my
me
life.
neither. I'm loving football. Like I don't even just watch the Giants. I watch all games now. I watch everything.
Uh,
All right. So Clay would beat the shit out of Mike Tyson.
Fair enough.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We allow
That was like, hey, we went 1 hour 5 minutes and 30
Yeah.
and 40 seconds, and that's the first time I slept.
even if we were on in the studio, we have allowed the S word on. We just don't allow the F word on Let Freedom Ring. We know that. All right. Would you rather listen to rock or rap?
Fuck.
Just a bigger fan.
I mean, classic rock. I mean, like I said, I'll listen to Floyd and Zeppelin, and I mean, Floyd, Zeppelin, all day long. No, Dylan, no. They're all saying rap. No, like I said, I'm an old man. I'll listen to classic rock.
Yeah. I mean, I liked. I mean, I'd probably go rap, but like '90s. Well, I'd probably go '90s R&B. That's pretty much my favorite music. But and Heather says rock all day.
Well, she's with the Rock and Roll Express, for God's sakes.
True. That makes her profile picture makes total sense right now. I got two of the toughest questions here in blank versus blank.
Okay.
We got Kendall Payne Glover or Josh Mears.
Josh Mears, because he doesn't aggravate me.
That's a fair choice. Pick band subs. Yeah. Or trap music. Oh, I can't listen to trap music, Chris. So
What
I
the
don't.
heck is trap music?
It's something newer the kids are into.
Nah.
All right. Here's the toughest question here, and these are two guys that host a show with you.
Oh, God up above.
You got to bring one. Who's the better host or who's the better co-host? Dylan Bracha or James?
Oh, Jesus. Why are you doing this to me?
Yeah, this is one reason you always want to review the show because we make the tough questions here at the end to Let Freedom Ring. But we don't hold your feet to the fire.
I know James ain't gonna watch this, so if I say it. My best friend of 24 years or a kid I just met 5 months ago. Who do I go with here? Oh, God. If I had to choose between, wow, he went to the Kendall school for kissing rear end. Who do I think is better?
Dylan has been bringing the ratings.
My views have gone. Oh, Jimmy, forgive me, Jimmy. Forgive me, Jimmy. I love you, brother, from another mother. I gotta go with Dylan.
Going with Dylan. I'm waiting to see his comment now.
He has. Dylan brings a lot of knowledge to the table. It's very shocking for a young man of the age of just turned 20, even knowing old school stuff as much as he does. You are so lucky that James is not watching the show, Dylan, because if he was, I had to go 24 years of friendship out the window. No, seriously, Dylan did bring a lot when I needed him. He's there. When he filled in, and now when I asked him to become a co-host, because I saw the numbers go up a little bit. When you go from, like I said, my channel is not that big. I got 45 subscribers. I get maybe, if I get 13, 14 views a week, I was happy. And Dylan did bring the numbers up, and Dylan brought me up into the upper 20s, sometimes in the 30s. depending, who comes in. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough decision, but yes, I would say Dylan.
Yeah, no, and
God,
I
that
think
hurt.
yeah,
God, that
Dylan,
hurt.
Dylan does a good job, and I like the idea of an older wrestling fan and a younger wrestling fan having a show together because I do think you're not going to agree. I think, we do the show with Kendall, the Wrestling Fans Unhinged. If we all agreed on everything, that'd be pretty boring.
It was. I mean, like, and even when he was doing it, like the first week we did it, it was me and you, kind of like of a pardon the interruption style.
Yeah, yeah.
Only problem was we kept agreeing on a lot of stuff. Last week when he did it, it was a little bit better because he had more of us in there. And it was kind of like that night when we did Nurse Trivia and we went backstage, and then all of a sudden we had like a 2-hour argument fest. And that's the way, and that's the way it felt right last Friday, the way we did it compared to the first episode.
Yeah. No, I said in one of the chats, I said I really think that we have something good there. So, um, but anyways, anything you want to plug about the show? We want to say the show name again. It's Coming Down the Aisle. You got a show, I believe, this weekend coming up.
Yep, we're going to be on Saturday. All three of us are going to be back together, me, Dylan, and James. James was away for a couple of weeks for family issues, but what's this? You're plugging your show while I'm plugging my show. No, that is not.
But yeah, so no, what time? What time?
Normally we try to stay with a 12 p.m. Eastern time start.
Okay.
I kind of like that time. Now with the time change, it's gonna be 9 o'clock for me over here, so it's be a little bit earlier for me. But I'm always up early anyway. But yeah, I like the shows we do. We cover, like I said, we cover the week of, news and rumors, and it's not like I'm covering every single news story. I pick 5 or 6 from each WWE and AEW, and we go over that. But yeah, I mean, last week's show was good. Me and Dylan went over the Revolution recap, um, giving our opinions that Revolution probably will be better than WrestleMania this year. This week, I don't know what's going on yet. Obviously, we'll talk about more about Scott Hall. Definitely going to be laughing about Shamel getting into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's something
So
we didn't bring up. Yeah, yeah. I'll let you do that on, on your show, but yeah, but no. So if you just put mic'd up sports into the search bar, will it come up?
it should. Well, if you want to put a link in later on, you could. I don't know if you put a link in or
Yeah,
anything on
we can do
yours.
that.
So, and I can send you the link and you can link it up. But I think it does come up. I think I did put in the search "mic'd up sports" one day and it did come up on the screen. So it is there. And like I said, I mean you can't miss it. It's red background, yellow writing, and a gold microphone. You can't miss it.
All right, awesome, awesome. Well, Mike, this has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you coming on.
It was a
Again,
pleasure.
check out.
I had a good time.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. So check out Mic'd Up Sports. And again, he's putting out content each and every week. So check it out. But we got another show tomorrow with the host of the Free Jacks podcast. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. But everybody out there, keep your heads up, and until next time, let freedom ring.